Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1692 homage to a Rolex Air King. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing my Seiko Safari, and Greg was wearing my Invicta Mickey Mouse watch. Grogu tried grape Kool-Aid for the first time. He enjoyed it so much that he bought a big container of the mix at the Mos Eisley Costco and took it with him to the Jedi Academy. When Master Skywalker saw that he brought Kool-Aid, he asked him to mix up enough for the entire class. Grogu asked why he should be responsible for supplying the whole class when he bought the Kool-Aid. Master Skywalker told him, with grape powder comes great responsibility. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this typical Pagani Design box. It doesn't come with one of them newer blue or metallic one though. It comes with the older ones with the flap. I think I like the ones with the flap better anyway. So let's take a look at the watch. And here it is. Isn't it pretty? This is a nice looking watch. This is an homage to the new Rolex Air King. The Air King was the full-size steel Rolex that you probably had the best chance of getting at the AD after they revamped the OP and made it super hot. Rolex hates it when something is perceived to be somewhat obtainable, so they revamped the Air King for 2022, so good luck with that. They changed the case, gave it a crown guards, fully loomed indices, gave it a 70-hour movement, and the biggest cosmetic difference was to put a 0 in front of the 5 at the 1 o'clock. This Pagani Design has a 0, but not the crown guards. There are not a lot of Air King homages. A lot of people do not like the Air King. It is supposed to be an aeronautical watch, but looks nothing like a Flieger. Instead of 2 rings, one with hours and one with minutes, we have hours at the 3, 6, and 9 like an Explorer, but minutes everywhere else. It is hard to consider it an aeronautical tool watch, but rather an aeronautical themed tribute watch. Personally, I like the Air King and prefer it to an OP, and I'm glad that Pagani Design made this. The watch is 38.7 millimeters at the bezel, which is 1 millimeter smaller than the Rolex. 49.1 millimeters lug to lug, 52.4 at the protruding male end links. It's only 11.6 millimeters thick, so it's a pretty thin watch. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 138 grams on the supplied bracelet with 2 links removed. Just has a smooth polished bezel. That's the way the Rolex is. The bezel is smooth polished. The dial is a matte black with no sunburst effect. Applied Pagani Design logo, but not the word Pagani Design on top. I had suggested to Pagani Design to make the logo yellow to match the yellow coronet on the Rolex, but they must have not thought that was a good idea. Then on the bottom it has automatic and 20 bar 200 meters, which is twice the water resistance of the Rolex. Thankfully it doesn't have the redundant water resistance text cluttering up the dial. They wrote this in green, making it hard to read on the black dial. It's white on the Rolex. Only the word Rolex is green on the Rolex, so I'm not sure why they did it in green. It has applied lume indices with 3, 6, and 9 and a triangle at the 12. All the other indices are printed lume given the minutes. Hands are your typical Rolex dial with lume Mercedes hour hand and lume pencil minute hand. The second hand is green with a lume lollipop and a lume counterbalance, and there is no date on this watch. The sign crown is a screw down crown. It pops nicely when unscrewed and has pretty good crown action when you go to set the watch. There's no jumping when you press it in, none of that nonsense. And there's really good thread action too when you screw it back down. You can't even feel the threads. It's really smooth. Some of the best thread action I've ever seen. Has a flat sapphire crystal which sticks up just barely above the bezel. And I don't know if there's AR coating or not, but the reflection doesn't seem too bad. I've definitely seen worse. The case is solid steel with polished sides but brushed tops and bottoms. And there's no crown guards like the Rolex. They added crown guards to the new Air King. The old Air King did not have crown guards, so it looks a little bit more like the old one. The Caseback is a screw down, helping with the 200 meters of water resistance. Once again, I don't know why we needed 200 meters on an Air King, but I guess better to have too much water resistance and not enough. Now, if you look at the Caseback though, it has a mountain on it. And I think the mountain would be more appropriate for an Explorer homage, not an Air King homage. So I think this is just a case of reuse, but oh well, who cares? It's just the Caseback. It still looks nice. Then it gives the model number, Pagani Design, water resistant, and stainless steel. And it's nice too that the Caseback's nice and flat, which helps with the thickness of the watch, or I should say the thinness of the watch. Underneath the Caseback is the Seiko NH35A. This is the go-to automatic workhorse movement for watches in this price range. It is a 24 joule 3 Hz movement that hand winds and hacks and has a 40-hour power reserve. It also has a bidirectional rotor. Here it is on the Timegrapher. As you can see, it's running just a little slow. And it's got kind of a pretty big beat error though. Look at those two lines there. But at least it seems to be a pretty straight line and not going all over the place. So once again though, an NH35, you never know what you're going to get. But they're usually fairly accurate. But there's no guarantee the watch you get will be running like this one. The bracelet is solid stainless steel with solid end links. It's an oyster style. And everything is brushed except for these polished sides. And this is not a fully articulating one. As you can see, the outer links are fixed with the inner links. And then it has the signed oyster style clasp. I'm not a big fan of this style of clasp, but I'm perfectly fine with it if it's going to be a Rolex homage. I just hate it when somebody puts this on a non-Rolex homage. The clasp works well enough, but it's a pain to use the micro adjust because they're on the inside of the clasp there. You got 3 of them. And then you got to take out the easy link, which can be difficult sometimes. And then once you get it out of the easy link, you have to get a little tool in there to take it out and move it. So the micro adjust is kind of a pain. Now one nice thing though, it does have screw pin adjusters and there's nice big heads with deep slots. So it's really easy to get a small screwdriver in there to adjust the bracelet. Here is the watch on my 7.5 inch wrist. As you can see, it wears nice and flat. Not too big, not too small, about the perfect size for a non-dive style watch. And I'm wearing it just a hair loose. I should bring it in one micro adjust, but I think my wrist kind of shrunk today. It was fitting pretty good yesterday. And I had to remove 2 links to fit on my wrist. So if your wrist is much bigger than maybe 8 1/4, you're not going to be able to wear this without getting some extra links. And I'm not going to show it to you on another strap because what's the point? This is an Air King. You're going to wear it on the bracelet, or why even buy it? Pagani Design has been doing a bit better on the Lume department lately, so let's hope that trend keeps up. As we speed up the time, we can see that the hand loom is doing quite well. Plus the 12 o'clock triangle is keeping up with the hands. But the printed on minute counters are already faded, and the applied 3, 6, and 9 are only doing a little bit better. But hands are the most important, so I have to rate the Lume as good because you can still see the hands after some time. What do I like about this watch? Well, they really nailed the look of an Air King. And it wears really nice on the wrist. Very comfortable watch, not too heavy. And it has really great crown thread action. And the Lume on the hands and the 12 o'clock are really good. What are my gripes and groans? Well, there's not a lot to complain on this one, so these are going to be some pretty minor gripes and groans. The green writing on the black dial is hard to read. The index Lume isn't near as good as the hand Lume and the 12 o'clock Lume. And they could have added one more link for bigger wrists. Do I recommend this watch? Of course. If you want an Air King homage, there isn't a lot out there, and this one does a really good job of mimicking the look. It also wears nice and has a good movement. So yes, you will be happy with this watch if you want one that looks like an Air King. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD1692, homage to a Rolex Air King. And I will be back with another unboxing because I got the alert today that something will be arriving in the post office tomorrow. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.